Long ago, after a 12-year sacrificial ceremony led by the sage Saunaka, a group of great sages sat peacefully in the sacred forest called Naimisha. Their minds were calm, their bodies rested, and they were eager to hear wondrous stories that would enlighten their souls. Just then, Ugrashrava, known as Sauti, the son of Rumharshana, a master of ancient tales, arrived. With deep respect, he bowed to these great sages. He greeted them, asked about their spiritual practice, and settled down comfortably on a seat they offered him. The sages, full of curiosity, asked him where he had come from and what he had seen and heard on his journeys. Sauti answered that he had traveled far and wide, visiting holy places and sacred springs. He told them he had heard the grand story of the Mahabharata, an epic composed by the divine sage Krishna Dvaipayana Vyasa, narrated by the sage Vaishampayana at the great serpent sacrifice of King Janmejaya, son of Parikshit. The Mahabharata, he said, is a magnificent tale that speaks of righteousness, wealth, pleasure, and spiritual liberation. It is filled with stories of kings and sages, humans and gods, and it includes the wisdom of the ancient Vedas. This epic was first shared by Vyasa himself. When learned beings, both gods and sages, heard it, they praised it as the greatest of all histories. The rishis in Naimisha asked Sauti to tell them this great story, just as Vaishampayana had told it at the serpent sacrifice. They wanted to hear of its hidden meanings and subtle truths, the lessons of life and the nature of the universe that it held. Sauti began by paying homage to the Supreme Being, who is all-pervading and the source of all creation. He described how, at the very beginning of time, there was a great cosmic egg from which emerged Brahma the Creator, along with Vishnu and Shiva. Then followed the beings that populate the universe, the gods and their many races, the wise sages and royal sages, the worlds themselves, and the natural order of days, nights, months, seasons, and years. Everything that exists arises at the beginning of each cosmic cycle and returns to nothingness at its end, only to be born again when the cycle restarts. From these ancient beginnings came the great lineages of kings like the Kuru, Yadu, Bharta, Yayati, and Ikshvaku clans, and countless beings, each playing their role on earth. Alongside them came the sacred teachings, the Vedas, the principles of spiritual practice, yoga, and the deep understanding of life, Vijnana. The sage Vyasa gathered all these teachings, rules, and lessons, placing them in order for people to learn and grow. With this introduction, Sauti prepared to share the grand Mahabharata, an ocean of stories, wisdom, and guidance that enlightens the mind and frees one from fear. Thank you for watching the very first episode of this incredible journey into the Mahabharata. This series is a complete and detailed retelling of the original epic, bringing you every story, every lesson, and every moment exactly as it was meant to be told. With 700 episodes planned, you don't want to miss a single chapter of this timeless masterpiece. Subscribe now and turn on notifications to follow this epic from start to finish.